Alright, hi, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to One Snatch. Finally get to film again, okay, after a really busy Pride Month. Okay, I did take a couple of weeks break, but this time I'm back because we're preparing for our next show, and this time it's Qabaret Duz Dizney Pluz. And I'm going to be doing quite a number of looks, but today for the promo, I'm going to be doing one of my favorite characters from the Marvel comics, Ms Marvel, okay? I know Ms Marvel's currently Kamala Khan, but my favorite version of Ms Marvel was, of course, the Carol Danvers one where she's wearing this iconic black and gold costume, okay? So I've got a costume that looks like that, and I'm going to try to recreate this, especially this beautiful kind of a comic book hair, okay? And talk a little bit about Ms Marvel, what toxic femininity is, and yeah, get ready for my promo for my new show, all right? So stay tuned, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in a bit. All right, okay, everything's gone. So I'm going to set my foundation. I bought this like Ms Marvel costume like really long time ago, and just removed it from its packaging, and it's really quite crappy. So I think I'm gonna have to do some body paint for this and maybe some creative Photoshop. But anyway, let's get started. I'm gonna prime with some She Glam. Okay, so Ms Marvel, Carol Danvers. I mean, Carol Danvers is obviously Captain Marvel now. But of course, when she came to my attention, she was Ms Marvel in the late 2000s to 2012, around that time. That's when I really started reading all of her comics, and she was so... I really liked her outfit, okay? This kind of a black bodysuit with the red sash. It was just so iconic. And she has quite an interesting history, and her journey to becoming part of the MCU and the TV series and everything has been actually quite contentious, so we'll be discussing that later. Try NB today. So the original Ms Marvel was actually created to be just a girlfriend for Captain Marvel, the original Captain Marvel. Okay, and the only reason why they created Captain Marvel character was so that they could keep the name for themselves, because apparently DC, okay, Marvel's rivals at the time, had this character Shazam, who was, I think, going to be called Captain Marvel. So Marvel wanted to keep the name for themselves and created Captain Marvel, and Carol Danvers was like his girlfriend, who was basically fridged, was involved in some accident with a Kree spaceship and was exposed to a whole bunch of radiation, and she kind of disappeared after a while. They didn't really do very much of the character until Stan Lee came along. Okay, and Stan Lee was the one who actually came up with the idea of making Carol Danvers a superhero. That, you know, this whole time she was, you know, hanging out somewhere, nursing her Kree radiation. She was developing these superpowers. Okay, and she came back in the 1970s. Oh yeah, the Captain Marvel thing was in the 60s, I think. She came back in the 1970s, around the peak of feminism. Carol Danvers at the time was modeled after Gloria Steinem, who was a very prominent feminist at the time, who actually had a zine, okay, that time called Ms. That's why they called her Ms Marvel, okay, because she was supposed to reflect this, what they call second wave feminism. So her costume at the time was basically a female version of the Captain Marvel costume, the one with the star on the chest. Elf. Okay, so I've powdered and everything. Just going to wipe off some of this excess. I think it'll be no brows today because I'll be painting on her mask. Okay, the mask that the costume came with is really bad. Set this a little bit, just to give it a dewy look. Okay, I'm gonna start my eyes. Okay, so after this, Ms Marvel, she had a costume upgrade in the 1980s. Okay, around 1980, she came out with this amazing look. Okay, very sexy, and her hair looks so nice. Okay, so this is what we'll be hoping to recreate today. And this is when she joined the Avengers. Okay, around this time, the storylines in comics were all really quite iffy. Okay, the very first storyline that the Avengers came up with was, I don't want to talk about it here, but it was really quite icky, where this other dimensional being came and kind of like kidnapped Carol Danvers and impregnated her with himself, and then it was this really a whole bunch of essay and stuff. Okay, so anyway, that happened. Okay, and when she finally did come back to Earth, her powers were stolen by Rogue, okay, of the X-Men, and then she became powerless for a while, and this was when she was the pilot for the Avengers. I'm just going to map out a very small crease, okay, because the eye holes, I want to see all of the eye makeup within the eye holes. Okay, so I don't want to make a huge blown out eye today. Yeah, a little bit of how I did my nagel eye, okay, for my 80s thing. In fact, I think I can probably get away with a pretty smoky eye, very 80s smoky eye. I think I'll do that. Using a lighter pencil, I'm going to map out the eye holes. I'm going to map out the mask first, okay? I guess this is going to be the eye hole. And refine that a little bit. Okay, and then I'll fill all that in with black later. Okay, meanwhile, I'm just going to go in and give myself a very sexy smoky eye. Okay, I'm going to go in with the brown first. Okay, just to smoke out everything here. Keeping it small, okay, because around this time, I think Carol Danvers was also modeled after a lot of the supermodels at the time, so she had very, very nice 80s makeup. Okay, and I'm keeping it very tight right in there. Okay, so after she lost all her powers, she was just basically a background character for a while. But on one trip to space, she was again blasted by some Kree technology, and she regained the powers, and this time she was even more powerful than ever. There's also this other storyline where Carol Danvers was actually supposed to be half Kree. Her mother was supposed to be like Kree, and the radiation just basically unlocked all her powers. Okay, and when she got this new power, she became like this really, really intense cosmic being where she could like absorb like, you know, cosmic radiation, and was super, super powerful. And she changed her name to Binary, and she went off to join this intergalactic group called the Starjammers for a while. And then she left Earth for a very long time. And this is kind of like the storyline in the MCU where she left Earth for a very long time to fight wars in space. Okay, and while she was gone, apparently another woman took up the Ms Marvel name, and this time it was part of the Fantastic Four. This is a really weird storyline. I'm not going to talk too much about this because the Fantastic Four, apparently she was this girlfriend of the Thing or something. She was basically Miss Thing, Miss Lang, but she didn't last very long, so we're not going to talk about that Ms Marvel. Smoky, deep under eye. I'm going to try to avoid doing my white liner in the middle. I'm just going to try to make this as comic-y as possible. Just blending out both sides. So that's the very tight smoky eye. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and just contour everything, do everything else, get the feminine features all down, and then go and paint in my mask. Okay, so first I'm going to bronze up the face. Warm up the face. And so when Carol Danvers also, on top of Binary, she was also called Warbird when she was in outer space. And then she came back and took back the name Ms Marvel in around 2006. And this is when she had her own comic. Okay, and around this time, it was a huge, there was this popularity on shows like Ally McBeal. Both She-Hulk and Ms Marvel had these comics which were very quite, maybe, is it third wave feminism? A lot of relationships and a lot of very modern woman in the city kind of stories. And around this time was when Secret Wars started coming on. The Avengers were caught up in that. So this is around the time when there was a lot of issues about identity politics, and this is when the Skrull invasion, you know, came on. And another woman took up the name Ms Marvel, and this was Moonstone, who was a villain who was actually impersonating Ms Marvel as part of the Dark Avengers, okay, under Norman Osborn. So that was a very interesting storyline too. Okay, and there was another storyline in House of M where mutants were all, you know, snapped out of existence by Scarlet Witch. And in this alternate timeline, Carol Danvers actually became the world's most powerful superhero, okay? And there was this whole thing between her and Rogue and Scarlet Witch around that time. So more or less contoured and everything. So now I'm just going to draw in my mask. Okay, for the mask, I've got the Create paints. I'm going to try to use these to draw the mask and try to do a little bit of a highlighting as well, okay, to make it look shiny. Using the black, it will be bold. And keep the lines clean. Okay, now I just have to get this even on the other side. Wish me luck. Okay, so I've drawn a mask. Now I'm just going to go into some highlights all around. I'm just copying this picture here I found on Pinterest. It looks almost very Catwoman-y. That brings us to the current Ms Marvel, which is Kamala Khan, okay? And she's been actually the longest, almost the longest running Ms Marvel. She is like the hero of Jersey City, okay? So Carol Danvers gave up the Ms Marvel moniker in 2012 and became Captain Marvel, okay? And Kamala Khan, who's basically a big nerd, who lives in Jersey City, idolizes, okay, Ms Marvel. And when she got her Kree powers because of some inhuman Terrigen Mist thing, she got this embiggening power and she morphed into Ms Marvel, okay? And she took on the name Ms Marvel to protect Jersey City. I think I'm almost done. I'm just gonna go in with the lips. Max sent me some Maximo lipsticks for lipstick day. This is a nice brown, which I think I can use to line and have a nice pink in the middle, very neutral looking. I think I'll line my lips first. Not too overdrawn because I'm still going for that 90s supermodel look. Okay, going in with brown. Okay, kind of a nude. Okay, so Ms Marvel, the comic, has been a huge hit. She was created by G. Willow Wilson, who is also a Muslim American. Okay, and the stories here, they moved away from all the very, epic space battles and world-ending things to more street level, more family drama. With Ms Marvel and her struggles of being a young Pakistani lady living in Jersey City. Okay, and on screen, Ms Marvel has had quite a rocky transfer to the screen. The original Captain Marvel did really well, okay, but there was a lot of online discourse around that time about woke feminism and toxic femininity, especially when it comes to entertainment. Because around this time was when a lot of the entertainment companies were trying to capitalize on what now they call fourth wave feminism, okay, where feminism is actually used to sell products, okay, and this was quite icky for a lot of people. And a lot of things that Brie Larson said, okay, on all the press tours and everything when she was promoting Captain Marvel was a little bit tone deaf, where, a lot of people keep saying that, oh, this has never been done by a woman before, now it's been done by women, it's better, by putting down male colleagues and basically erasing all the previous big female action heroes before, such as Ripley from Aliens and everything like that, thinking that you're the very first one to have done it. So I think this rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, and all these forced identity politics was all caught up in the discussion with stuff like, the female Ghostbusters, Rey from Star Wars. Yeah, so there's a bit of a backlash. So some of these movies started not doing very well. But when Ms Marvel, Kamala Khan, got into Disney Plus, her show actually did pretty well, okay? But unfortunately, this didn't translate to the big screen when they came up with the Marvels, and the Marvels really tanked. The movie last year with Captain Marvel, Ms Marvel, and Photon. I watched it. I actually enjoyed it quite a lot on Disney Plus, but it did feel like just a very extended kind of a TV show, not a movie. It's a very neutral lip. Okay, so I think I'm almost done. I'm going to get dressed, get into my Ms Marvel, I hope it looks good, okay, and I'll be back for a wrap up. Alright, okay, so I've got my lenses in, and I can barely see anything, okay? This is really difficult doing a photo shoot, trying to get myself dressed with these blackout lenses, and I am in this Ms Marvel costume along with the red sash. I really love this outfit. I think the only time that this was actually seen in the MCU was when one of the side characters in the Ms Marvel TV series wore it at a costume contest. So yeah, I really hope they bring this outfit to the MCU soon. And yeah, that's my video on Ms Marvel and why I love her so much. And in preparation for our Disney show, Qabaret Duz Dizney Pluz. Oh god, this is riding back. I really look like a mess right now. I can barely see what I'm doing. And yeah, this is when you really need an assistant. I barely even zip myself up. Okay, so anyway, that's the end of this video. Ms Marvel. Okay, alright. Bye. I can't wait to get these things up. Okay, I'm done.